It is becoming very common to sit down with a patient and them have on that case history that they struggle with anxiety. And unfortunately, even more so than I've ever seen in my 10 years of practice, we're seeing kids younger and younger as the years go by, it seems, that are having the same struggles. You know, we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 year olds talking about anxiety. And in this video, we want to talk about why. What is anxiety? Why do people struggle with it? How does it relate to your nervous system? See, when we're adults, we think of anxiety being caused by external stressors. You know, we talk about work stress and relationship stress and financial stress and all these different things causing anxiety. And while that's very true, there are other forms of stress that we encounter in everyday life that can fuel the fire. Anxiety is a neurological imbalance. Anxiety is ran through our central nervous system. And when we talk about our central nervous system, we've done many videos in the past where we've talked about how the nervous system has two different modes to it: a sympathetic, or what we call fight or flight or stress mode, and a parasympathetic, or what we call rest and digest, relaxation mode. And your body, your nervous system needs a good balance between those two aspects of the nervous system. And we also know that you can't be on both sides of that nervous system at the same time. I think of it like driving a car. You can't be in fight or flight stress mode or the gas pedal. If you think of stress mode like the gas pedal in your car, you can't have your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, or things are going to not go so well for you and your car. They're going to get overheated. It's going to blow up, right? So the nervous system is the same way. And as we go through life, there is more stress now than ever before. And the stresses that we often talk about that I just mentioned, where like life and work and relationships and finances and all that stuff, that would go under one category of stress that we would relate to as emotional stress. Anything that we go through in our life that is tied to emotions is going to trigger a stress response in the body. But the other types of stress that we often don't think of as relating to our nervous system or affecting things like anxiety are chemical stress. So that can be a number of different things. Diet, gluten, food sensitivities, chemicals that we have in our deodorants and soaps and detergents, scented candles, breathing in toxins. All of these different things are chemical stressors that affect our body and push our body into more fight or flight stress mode. The last would be physical stressors, okay? That would be things like posture. That would be things like exercise. Exercise is a great thing to do, but it is a stress on our body. And exercising too much. Sometimes we see that where patients just exercise all the time. They don't give themselves a time to rest and relax and give their body a break to recover from that. But I want to shift the conversation to kids, because when kids struggle with anxiety, we don't think of kids having stress nearly like we do adults. So kids still experience stress. It just looks different. So we go all the way back. When I sit down with a parent and I go through a kid's case history, some of the common stressors that we see that are both physical, chemical, and emotional in nature are things like the birth process, things like in utero constraint, or being in a not so optimal position in the womb, breech presentation, or anything like that. Those type of stressors are stressors that the baby and kid go through. You talk about after the baby is born. The more stressful a birth is, a C-section delivery, forceps delivery, vacuum extraction. All of those things are physical stressors on the baby's body, in particular that crucial area, the neck and upper cervical spine. Then kids go from being born to crawling and walking and learning how to walk. And we all know as a parent how frequently kids are bumping their heads, they're falling off chairs, they're learning how to walk, they're falling on their butt. That type of physical stress can impact kids and their nervous system as well and push their nervous system into a more stress dominant state. And then chemicals. There's many different chemicals, the same chemicals that we got red dyes, we got yellow dyes, we got, our diets just in general as Americans are not very good. All of those inflammatory diets and things fuel the fire for a sympathetic dominant state. So when we sit down with a parent, we go through a history and we look at those stressors, then we talk about how stresses in life overload the nervous system and cause what we call and what is called subluxation. Subluxation is when you have stress and tension built up in the nervous system that fuels the fire and adds to this sympathetic dominance. So, to put it plainly, the more of these stressors that we and our kids go through, the more our nervous system gets overloaded. And there's a term that I want to talk about today that that makes a lot of sense, is nerves that fire together, wire together. So our central nervous system, if it is constantly getting bombarded by these stressors, then the nervous system gets locked in to fight or flight. It gets hardwired for stress. And as a kid goes through the growth and the stages of growth and development, and their cognition, their brain starts to develop, and they become more cognizant of school and relationships and the environment that they're in, and they're struggling with attention and deficit disorder and all of these things, school and all that just fuels the fire even more, and their nervous system just gets locked into stress mode. And that is where our nervous system gets overwhelmed, overloaded, and those emotions, those thoughts, the nervous system, the central nervous system just gets stuck in a pattern of anxiety, okay? And that's where that repeated pattern just goes over and over, and then we express, yes, I feel anxious. Yes, I feel anxiety, which what you're saying is, I feel like my nervous system is constantly overwhelmed. So chiropractically speaking, when we help patients and we help kids that are struggling with things like anxiety and sensory overload and all those other different struggles that kids and adults are dealing with, we're not treating symptoms. We're not treating anxiety. Our job is to remove subluxation, remove stress and tension on the nervous system. And when you do that, your hardwired nervous system goes from fight or flight dominance to starting to engage this brake pedal, okay? The brake pedal is what I refer to as the parasympathetic, the parasympathetic side is what I refer to as the brake pedal of the nervous system. That's where our nervous system is calming down. We're handling our emotions. We're controlling our emotions better. We constantly, oftentimes see kids notice better rest, more relaxed, better digestion, all of those things that are associated with a nervous system that is spending just as much time or more appropriate amount of time in the parasympathetic side of things. So chiropractically speaking, when we apply chiropractic care, neurologically specific chiropractic care to a patient, we are calming the nervous system. And that's why we get the results that we do. We're not adding anything to the nervous system. We're not adding any stimulants or any medications, or we're not changing the kid or changing the individual. We are simply taking their nervous system from a more sympathetic fight or flight, stress dominant state to having a better balance to their central nervous system by correcting, detecting, and detecting subluxation, which is stress and tension stuck in the nervous system. So I hope that makes sense to you all. Thanks for joining me in this video today. If you have anyone you know that is struggling with any of the things that we just talked about, please send them this video. I know we get kind of nerdy with some of the terminology in here, but I hope that I explain it in a way that makes sense to anybody that's watching. So share this video, send us a message, send us an email, give our office a call. We'd love to help, and we'll talk to you next time.